Okay, I guess everybody's able to see screen.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So this is the first question, and we are supposed to defend this position as black. How can we find some solution to this one? It's black to play and draw, of course. So what will be the correct method of drawing?
Uh, my first, if you want first impressions, I would play Bishop C4 here.
Okay, all right.
But I'll calculate board, but that's just the first snap. If I have like 5 seconds on the clock.
Okay. All right. We'll just keep Bishop C4 as one of our candidates. Okay. We'll wait for Rafi a bit.
Based on what we talked about last time, we just want to keep an constant attack on one of the pawns, right? Especially the one that we want to get to move. So I would play Bishop G2. Bishop G2.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so two options here. All right. So Rafi, here I think if you go Bishop G2, we still somehow didn't do anything about the move D5, yeah?
Oh, black is going that way. Sorry. I was looking at it wrong. But anyway, either way, I would have still played Bishop G2 anyway, but sure, go ahead.
So if we keep the bishop here, I mean, true, you are attacking this pawn, so the king is stuck, but white will very soon change the formation of these pawns. Like, let's just say white starts bishop to b4 check, where you would go now with the king.
King E6.
Okay, and now he goes d5.
King D7.
King d7, and now he goes king d4. So in this position, if you manage to get your bishop to f7, then it's a draw. Because you attack this pawn and white cannot play e5, e6. But
Hold on one second.
can we do that?
Yeah, I think I would have just needed to play the King D7 right away without giving him a tempo. So let's go back for a second.
Okay. So here.
So even here, yeah, just play that.
Okay. Now I still play d5.
I think I'm too slow.
Yes. The problem is I will slowly play king d4 and e5, e6, or even
Right.
I'll just wait a bit for your move and then decide. Like, for example, if you play something like this, maybe even I can go king f4, king e5.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could have just played Bishop H3 in the beginning at once, though, right?
Can try, yes. So directly here, right?
I guess. Well, if the goal is to go to F7, then why would I play that? I guess I would just go with Kevin's move, Bishop C4.
Yes, I mean, technically, this is simpler because you directly want to go to f7. I mean, that's the original goal, and you also prevent d5, yeah? So this looks simpler actually. So it's better to play bishop c4 in this position. But there is a catch. So let's say bishop g3. Oh, now you both can participate. So what next?
King D7.
Okay, so Rafi's move is king d7. Kevin, what about you?
I like King D7 or maybe King E8. Or sorry, King E7. E7. Can't get the E8.
So you also choose king d7 or something else?
Just to be different, I'll do king e7.
King e7. King e7 makes not a lot of sense because I will play d5.
Gotcha.
I mean, if you want to go back, then it's better if it's a light square,
Light
no
square.
point of keeping it in a dark square.
Okay.
Okay,
That,
and
that
coming
does
back to
make sense.
Rafi's move, so Rafi king d7, but you just remember, yeah, you allowed d5, and your bishop still didn't find its way to f7.
But eventually you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to allow me to play that though, right?
I will play
So
king d4 and e5 e6. That's my next move.
Yeah, ouch.
so I can't.
Uh, then
So I mean, like he
forward.
has to eventually.
So king
Like,
c5.
So,
can I
sorry.
not accomplish the same thing by keeping the bishop on the a4 to e8 diagonal and king on e8? Does it not make
Uh,
this? Does it not do the same thing?
Definitely not, because looking at your construction, yeah, you want to play something like this, right?
Oh, eventually he'll play e6 and then d7, right? With the
Yes,
king's help.
exactly. Like I will play e5 and I will take the king to c7 and then play these moves.
Okay.
So I don't think that's also a good option. Bishop c4 is the correct way to proceed in this position, but we have to be careful about the king as well, because we should not forget we need the bishop on f7. Yeah, like that's the usual defensive move.
So we play king
E
c6.
King
or
c6,
c6.
yes. So we have to play king c6 in this position. Actually, it's the only move that surprisingly draws here. If we make king to e6 in this position, this also is losing because I will not rush with d5. I will play king d2. And again, after going here, then I will play d5.
Ah, wow, gotcha. Nuanced.
So so it's better to just keep king on c6. Now, okay, in order to win this position, white will have to try and get this and d5. Yeah, that's the only way. So let's see, king f4, and you have time to go back. So king e5, king d7, d5, and this position Rafi and I discussed yesterday. So Rafi, if you can explain this to Kevin, like how to make this a draw.
Well, basically, we're trying to get white to push e6 and e5 so we can get those light square blockades. And anytime he pushes, he can't really move his king away to help with e6 because the d5 pawn is always going to be unprotected. So
Mhm.
he can't get his ideal pawn push. Ideally, he wants to play e6 and d5, but he can't play it because he can't leave the d5 pawn alone because we're going to take it. So he has no choice but to play the d6 and d5, e5, and as soon as he does that, we have the light square blockade.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Okay, but I mean, even after all this theoretical stuff, there is still a catch in this position. So how can black draw this?
Oh, the catch is that the bishop is going to get trapped now.
Yes, very good.
Uh, Even I forgot. Hold on, let me think about it. Oh, now we attack the base pawn, e4 pawn. So
Yes,
he
very
can't
good.
leave that one alone.
Very nice. So bishop n7 is the move that we should play in this position. It's the only move. Ideally, I mean, this should be our defensive structure, but here there is the slightly interesting stuff that the bishop gets trapped here. And if the bishop was white's bishop, if it was on f2, then we can still take bishop d5, e d5, and king d6. But here, even that's not possible. Yeah.
Right.
So that's why we have to find this bishop h7. Now the position is drawn because white cannot play king f6. We just grab the pawn. And if white goes king d4, we don't worry about this. We can just play bishop here, and this is a draw.
Right. Now he can't leave that d4 pawn.
Yeah,
d5 pawn, I'm sorry.
d5 pawn. Yeah.
Right.
Because the only way white can win this is if he gets king to f6.
Right.
But that's not going to happen because the d5 pawn is attacked. And we are very happy if this happens because then we get a blockade. Yeah. So we just move the bishop here or here. It's just a draw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think this is clear for both of you. Kevin, do you have any doubts?
No, yeah, this is good.
Okay, perfect. So, I
Understood.
mean, I just wanted to say that even after finding the first initial correct moves, there are always still some, issues in the position. Like you still have to be accurate till the end in order to make it a draw.
Mhm.
Or rather, you can say there are always some pitfalls, yeah, even in the end game.
Mm.
Okay, we will go for the next one. I'll try a slightly more interesting position actually. So this is the next position. The question is, it's white's turn, and if white can manage to make it a draw.
White is trying to draw this, right? You said.
Yes, white is trying to draw. Black is coming this way.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think white. I think he can honestly.
I agree.
Okay, all right. So this is a
Like
very
I think
yeah.
I was gonna say I think king needs to go on d1, and
Mhm.
the thing is that if king is on d1, you know, we are always going to be able to, like, his king is gonna have to come around to a2 to try to help the king pawn queen, and
Mhm.
I'm just trying to think of what happens if black king goes to a1, black pawn goes to b2, my king is on d1. Bishop is where it's at right now.
Then black will promote, yeah, for sure.
Then black will promote.
Hmm.
But if I'm gonna have to step my king, let me think about it a little bit more actually.
The way I'm looking at it is, or just methodically thinking, is since the B pawn is on a light square, if we can get rid of that, I'm sorry, the E pawn's the one we really have to worry about since it's a dark square promotion square with the dark square bishop. So that pawn has to go or always be blockaded.
Okay.
Or it'd be easier to block. It should be easier to blockade the B pawn from afar, but you still have to cover it with your king. So
So basically, king has to stop the B pawn, bishop has to stop the E pawn.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at in my mind. So I'm thinking like king E2, but then what? I haven't got that far into it.
It's actually very interesting. I mean, this is the right approach for any opposite color bishop situations. We never need to actually start calculating with accurate moves. First, we have to imagine the setup, yeah, where we can hold on to the position. As Rafi just said that if black gets his king to A1 and pawn to B2, no matter what white does, he cannot stop it, right?
Right.
So the other way around, it means white has to make sure that the king never reaches A1 just like that. So basically, if so, let's just say if we start with king E2 and he plays this, I think it's already time that we have to play something like this and play this move. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this just looks logical to me so far. Okay, but of course, we have to calculate from the beginning because if we are missing anything, then things will backfire.
Mm-hmm. So the moment that so the moment that we play king A3 and try to push the B pawn, the king can't get back in to get to A1 anymore.
Yes,
That's the thing, is the bishop's gonna cut off the king.
yes,
Right. So
yes.
and in the meantime, he can't really push the E pawn either because our king is still close enough to stop that. So we have to get him to push the pawn to B2 and keep the king from getting to A1. That's it.
Okay,
And our king is to be on D1 by that time.
okay.
So if we just go directly for like say king E2, B3, king D1, B2. He can try to go. Actually, doesn't this accomplish what we're trying to do though? If king B3, then always bishop check.
Yes, but I think here, if we go king D3, bishop check, king A3, then we have to come back and he comes here, king A2. So we need to control the A2 square as well. So I think something like bishop B1 should be good enough to make a draw. and white can just shuffle, yeah, king e2, king.
Right. I just realized that. But what if? Okay, let me put that position back for a second. Let me play for black for a second.
Okay.
So let's just say I play bishop e5.
Okay.
King d4. Like bishop c5, I guess. Or sorry, bishop f4. King e5.
What exactly?
I'm gonna come around and try to swap the two. So I'm gonna bring my king. Oh, the thing is that okay, I think I see the problem. He has a dark square bishop, so he can't ever really as black can't really ever check the king away, the white king away from e2.
Yes.
That's the problem. Okay. Okay. Never mind.
So
That
I'll
idea is
just
not gonna.
shuffle right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so king e2, I think for against b3, in this position, king b1, black might not play b2 instantly. He will probably try to play king b2 first.
But then we can go after that pawn though now, right?
So how do
So
we
now we
do
play
this?
king, bishop e6.
Bishop
yeah.
e6. Okay, so let's say I play king a3. What next? Kevin, feel free to join in the analysis, okay?
Okay. Bishop f5.
Yes, very nice, Kevin. So just come back bishop f5. So basically now if b2, then you have bishop b1, yeah?
Yeah.
And that's a draw. So this is the right way to make this position a draw. I think if he goes king a2, then we can just wait, yeah, because he has kind of pinned himself. So we can just wait here.
Hmm.
And if he goes king a3, then again bishop g6. This should be good enough.
After king a2, can we go back to that position for a second? I play king b2.
Yes, king b2 we just saw, right? I mean, king b2 basically is not improving your position, yeah? It's not like you can play b2 anyway. So I'll just wait.
Okay, you cannot move it off that diagonal though, right? Then you'll lose.
Yeah.
If the bishop moves from the diagonal. Okay, I gotcha. Because I was gonna try e2 check, but you can just keep your bishop on that pawn on b3.
Yes, I'll just keep it here. So now black has again no improvement. King c3, bishop f5 one more time, yeah? It's fine. Okay, so I just wanted to add the position. This is probably, I mean, particularly for Rafi. So this is the game which Kevin and I were talking about.
Oh.
Bishop
Yeah.
f3, yeah?
Yeah, I've
Yes.
seen this before too.
Yeah, so this is Topalov and Shirov's game where Shirov came up with this idea of bishop h3 and getting to e4 and then push d4. So as I said, this is actually like an exception position, and there is no pure technique involved in this one. It's mainly termed as an opposite color bishop situation because of this move bishop h3, but this actually comes under bishop versus pawn endgames, which is a completely different sector of the endgame. And of course, there will be a lot of transposition to the king pawn endgames, some situations of pawn races and stuff. But since it's a very nice one, I just decided to add it here, and the analysis and everything is there. So feel free to go through this. Yeah.
Sorry to ruin it. I shouldn't have brought it up.
No, it's fine. I mean, no, it's not actually you, Kevin. I think in every opposite color bishop lectures or books that I have come across, this position is mentioned for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I before going into the end game, I remember working with a book. It's Alexei Shirov's book, Fire on Board. So it has two parts, and it's like a collection of Shirov's best games. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
in that book, this game is analyzed in detail from the beginning. So I knew it from that book. Later on, I just saw that it's mentioned in like a lot of endgame books as well, just because of this position, Bishop H3.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
a
so it's a very nice one actually. I mean, I would say that it's a very interesting position, and it's some technique which might not come to your mind unless and until you have actually seen it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. We will go for one more position with the separated pawns. Okay. This is black to play, and we are trying to make it a draw. So white is going this way.
Mm-hmm. I think I have the general idea of it.
Mhm.
Basically, we need to get control of f8 with our king.
Okay.
And the way that we're going to do that, hopefully, is by gaining a tempo on the c6 pawn on the way.
Okay.
Okay. And so if we can somehow do that, theoretically, we could actually no. What we would do, actually, I have another idea, in fact. We can hmm.
The bishop's on a really good diagonal already.
Yes.
I think I would still go that route of king d4, c5, and then go to d6, e7, something like that. Try to
Mhm.
get hold of f8 somehow, and then keep the bishop maybe on the d6 or something like that.
Um. Well, if you go king d4, I think I'm gonna start with probably f4. Yeah. King c5, bishop f3. And if you go king b6, I will first play king f6 and not allow you to go back.
Wait, I think okay, I see the situation now.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need to move the king actually, right? Because king and bishop lined up is stopping f4, first of all. He can't make
As
progress with the f pawn.
Very good. So Kevin actually told that in the beginning. Yeah, the bishop is in a very good diagonal. Like it's like perfect
Right.
place to stop both the pawns. So this is known
Right.
as the principle of one diagonal.
All we have to do is just keep walking the king towards the C pawn or the F pawn, depending on which direction his king goes to help.
Yes. Yes. So how do we do that? That's the question.
So we'll just wait with the bishop. So like bishop C7.
Yeah.
Okay. So very good. And I think I mean Kevin also agrees with bishop c7. But
Yeah.
here is the catch. It has to be only bishop c7.
Oh. Oh.
So this is the important part actually. So what's wrong with bishop d6? That's the next question for you.
Interesting. I was looking at bishop d5. It just does a
Or
d6 is
even bishop e5. Like that's also another question. What's wrong with bishop e5?
oh.
It's because the bishop is going to come under attack for the king along the way, and so we
Yes,
need to basically every time he makes a king move, we have to make a king move, or else we're not going to be in time to go help
exactly.
with C7.
Yes, very, very nice. So basically, every time white plays a king move, we have to make a king move. So if king f5, king, 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 and we don't have the next king move, yeah, to b6,
Right.
the
Yeah.
bishop falls.
Nice.
And it's the same thing with bishop e5. Like if he plays king f5, king d4, king e6, and we cannot make this move, yeah, because the
Mm-hmm.
bishop falls. So it has to be only c7 in this position. Only this makes sense here to play just bishop c7. And this is already you can say like a draw. On the other hand, we cannot keep it too far away because after king f5, king d4, he pushes f4. From the other side, it was still okay because now you don't have to worry about c7. Yeah, if the bishop was on c, let's say if the bishop is on c7, king
Mm-hmm.
f5, king d4, and f4 comes, we come back. Yeah,
Right.
and this is just a draw straight away.
Yeah. Putting the bishop on H2, king is going to get to the D7 square, and we can't get to B6 in time, basically, right? Sorry,
Uh,
king is getting to D7, and we can't get to B6 in that exact moment.
no, I think already c7 is unstoppable. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that too. I didn't even think about that.
so already c7 is unstoppable, and we cannot do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why bishop c7 has to be the only move to make it a draw. So bishop c7, king f5, king d4. Of course, white is going to try. So white will go till this moment. And now white will use a waiting move, yeah? So something like this, let's say. Okay, now again, we have to find where to put the bishop.
I would again put it on F4 to stop the other pawn now.
Okay, if you go bishop f4 here,
Oh, wait.
then he comes
Oh, yeah.
with the tempo, yeah?
I was muted. White king needs two
Um,
squares and black king needs three squares, so white will beat us to it again.
so it has to go to G3.
3-3. Yep.
Okay, if you come to g3 here, then again king e6, king f5, and again he plays f4.
That was the same thing. So 8. Ooh. Does he have to come closer? No. Bishop b8?
Yeah,
Yes,
you have to then
very,
go
very
back,
nice.
right?
So
Yeah,
just go
yeah,
back. I mean, if he
right,
wants to kick the bishop out, let him waste a move, yeah? Let him go a bit far away from the f pawn.
right. If he plays King C8, then we go to like F4 or something, right?
I think we can play bishop c7 as well in this
Yeah,
position.
that's it. Mm-hmm.
It's also fine. So he has to come king e6 in order to play king f5 and f4. But here we are again right on time. He cannot play f4 yet because of king e3.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good drawing pattern to just remember. Okay, so we will go to slightly complex situations and just see if you guys can figure it out. So this is probably, you can say, um, a bit dangerous because white has a very distant pass pawn. And this pretty much means that the king will be out of the game. Yeah, the king on b7 will be out of the game. So in this situation, the best drawing pattern is to fix a pawn chain, and you should try to defend the pawn chain, the base of the pawn chain with your bishop. At the same time, you have to stop any pawn breaks that might happen. So in this position, white actually plays f5. So he's trying to win this with f5. And the question is, how can we make this a draw?
Can we see it from the black side?
Sure, sorry.
It's fine.
I have an idea here.
Okay.
Bishop d3.
Very nice. And so bishop d3, as you can see that the base of the pawn chain needs to be defended, yeah? So
Mhm.
this is the best move in this position to make it a simple draw. Bishop d3 is very simple because if white takes fg6, okay, no problem, yeah?
Yeah,
And we
it's
just maintain the bishop on the diagonal. So just play bishop b1, bishop c2. White has no chances of creating any pass pawns here. And if he goes king f7, then it's the same thing. Yeah, we just go bishop f5. And
mhm.
this is also, you can say, completely drawn. In the game, gf5 was played, and after king f5, bishop e6, king g5, bishop g4, still the game ended in a draw. But I would say that black had to find this bishop e6. It's like an only move in the position. If black would have played something else, yeah, like let's just say king c6, then I think the position would be slightly tricky because white can play king g5, bishop e2, and h3. So this is very problematic for black because white wants to now slowly play g4, and after you take, white wants to play h4, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, because we're in a dark square again.
Yeah, and if you think now you can play bishop f1 and this is okay for us, but even then he will play g4 and h4. And if you take the h3 pawn, he goes gh5. So the moment white has a separate pass pawn on the other side of the board, white's winning chances increase drastically. This is valid for all opposite color bishop situations.
Hmm.
So this is actually very important, and yeah, it's a draw right now. Bishop d3 is the safest one, by the way. I actually want to just show you one example from my own game. Um, how like these theoretical positions work in the games. So let me show you a position. Okay, so I was playing as black, and I knew I am struggling a bit in this position because I have some issues here that I must deal with. So here I came up with this decision to liquidate the position into an opposite color bishop situation. So I just voluntarily gave up the pawn with knight c4 and got a position like this. And of course, the rooks were traded. And you can see automatically this position is very easy for black to defend. Like once we got this position, it's very easy for black to defend because white has no pass pawns and no breakthroughs. The only question was where you would keep your bishop to defend both these pawns. Like imagine white wants to get to king to c5, yeah? Where you would keep your bishop, on d5 or on b5?
On d5 or where? Sorry.
Either on d5 or b5, which square
Oh, okay.
you prefer?
First guess would be b5, but
Yes,
I'm
and why
thinking.
why is that? Why
Uh,
b5 is the correct one?
blockading.
Blockading. Okay, very nice theory. So Rafid, this, I mean, probably you can also understand this. If you put the bishop b on b5, white has no chances of playing b5 himself.
Right.
So that's the ideal square to keep the bishop instead of d5. Like normally people just think that, okay, I can just keep the bishop here and everything is defended. Yeah? But that would be a wrong choice because if he gets king to c5, he can always play b5 and things will be risky after that.
Yeah.
So you can see black went directly for this idea and right on time he just stops everything.
Yeah,
And white
nice.
has no further winning chances here. It's pretty much an easy draw after this. I mean, black is just going to shuffle between these two squares.
Mhm.
And it's an easily drawn position. But basically, you need to have this amount of confidence so that you will be able to play the move knight c4. I mean, there will be a certain segment of players who will always try to defend the a7 pawn, yeah? Like they can play king here, rook here, knight to c8. Like they will try to defend, but all of those defensive methods are or will be bad because it's extremely passive. On the other hand, if you just give up the pawn, knowing your opposite color bishops well, then it's an easy draw.
So let's just say he took it. He takes the knight.
And he
And
did.
but he doesn't take an a7. He just plays against that pawn.
Uh,
Or maybe something completely different. I don't know. Is that possibility? Like he tries to play after the c6 pawn, like rook a6, rook a1.
he can. I mean, you can obviously try rook a6, but okay, I'll play bishop e4. So something like king f2.
F2, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the point. Yeah, like I will never ever try to defend a7. Like I'm always giving it up.
Well, I might not trade both pairs of rooks, right? I might play rook a1 here, and then just trade one of the rooks.
That's what happened in the game as well, like he took with the bishop, yeah, bishop on a7, and only one rook was traded.
Yeah.
But it won't matter in this position. Like I'll play rook d8, and if you trade one rook, okay, it's fine. I'll just keep it here. Now you have
Bishop. Yeah.
okay, and h5, and I'll just wait in the same way that I did. This looks like a draw.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Some playability to get there, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, once you get the position, I'm pretty sure you guys will also find out different ways to make it a draw. But the decision-making ability of giving up the pawn, voluntarily, yeah. I mean, it's not falling straight away. And there are, of course, a lot of defensive methods like knight c8, as I told you, and you can play king f7, rook d8, rook d7. Always try to hold on to that pawn. But voluntarily giving up the pawn, just like that, you give up the pawn, and then making it a draw, it's probably more easier that way. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, perfect. All right. I think for today we can wrap up. I mean, anyway, we are done with the separated and the connected ones. So the next time I'm targeting the more complex ones, like these kind of positions, and we'll try to figure it out. Okay.
That was a fast.
Yeah. So
Okay, perfect. So Kevin, do you have anything to ask? Any doubts? Anything in particular?
I was just saying that was a fast hour.
Yeah, actually, I have to make a hard stop right now.
Oh no, I'm just saying it was
yeah.
fun. It just went by quick. It seemingly went by quick.
Okay, all right. Okay.
There's a saying. There's a saying, time flies when you're having fun.
Yes. So when I was actually preparing Endgames, Kevin, I used to prepare almost around like 6 to 7 hours.
Wow.
So my coach was a Russian, well, Ukrainian grandmaster. So for them, it's like Endgame is the most important part, yeah.
And
And
was it Shapronsky, was it?
yeah. So for example, if he gives a position like this game, so basically, unless and until I have given all the variations, like everything which is mentioned, he will
Yeah.
not move forward.
Yeah.
And
My first coach was
yeah,
Ukrainian too, and he would do that.
so you know that, yeah.
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 In his hard mode, he would do the same thing. He would just give me position and be like, study this.
And you have to just basically say everything in the position, right?
All the variations. Yeah.
Yes, everything you have to go through. And this is I mean, I could manage it in opposite color bishops, but it becomes a real tough task, especially when it's the king pawn endgame and the rook pawn endgames, because there are a lot of variations, and with every move, the characteristic of the position changes. So I remember I solved one rook endgame like for 4 hours, one position.
Oh,
So so it was very difficult, and we never were allowed to make any moves on the board. It was basically we had to write the moves and give it to him. So it was like pretty intense.
You're talking about Kevin. You're talking about Strapunski and Yermolinsky, right? They used to make us do this kind of stuff.
Oh, so
we used to have.
You guys have trained with Yermolinsky, yeah?
Yeah. He used to come to our chess camp, and he would just make you write everything on an index card.
Yes.
And Alex Strapunski also, same thing.
Yeah, I personally studied with Stravinsky too. So
yeah. Okay. Okay, guys.
All right. Still, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, Kevin. All right. Thanks. I'll be seeing you guys.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Bye bye.